I'm John Fox with ESPN's Outdoor Adventures. You know, we have an opportunity each week to visit you in your homes, your viewing areas, to share a fishing or a hunting vacation with us and our special celebrity guests. Well, the object of this particular tape is to spend more time with you to teach you to be a better turkey caller. And we're very privileged to have one of America's premier outdoorsmen, conservationists, and turkey callers as our special guest on this tape on how to call turkeys with a diaphragm turkey caller. What better man? He's the one that came up with it several years ago. Now, he's going to be explaining in this particular tape the way to hold the turkey call in your mouth, the way to place your tongue against it to get the different notes. He's going to teach you some things that you need to learn before you ever really start yelping for turkeys. There's an art to it, but once you learn it, you'll be able to stay almost motionless while the turkey's coming up to you. Where if you're using a quill or if you're using a box or maybe another type of turkey caller like a slate or something like that, you make movement, but you don't with the diaphragm. Let me tell you what we're going to do. Leroy's going to be explaining to Carter Scott the different types of turkey calls, from the old wing bone like the Indians used to use to the little kind of a slate call where you actually take a little pick and kind of take a piece of slate and pick it like this, and also the box and the gobbler. Then he's going to show you how to use the diaphragm call. Now, the first thing I want to do is to show you a turkey hunt, because when you see what you're going to see and see the turkeys reacting, you're going to find why it would be very important that you learn to master this call, because with it you can remain motionless. You don't have to make any kind of a movement that you have to make using the other particular kinds of calls. We're going to ask you now to join Delbert McClinton. Delbert was with the Rondells. He's still a popular singer, and they call him the Blue-Eyed Soul Brother. Well, let me tell you one thing. He's a great fisherman and a great hunter, too. He's going to get with Leroy now, and we're going to take you on an actual turkey hunt to where you can see how to call a turkey in and to watch his reaction to Leroy's calls. Then we're going to break away, and Leroy's going to show you how to master this call. And when you learn to do it, your turkey calling and turkey hunting success is going to turn 100% the other way. This, I promise you. Let's join Delbert and Leroy now and that old turkey gobbler.
Delbert, I thought I heard one over your way. Did you hear him or not? I couldn't tell. This wind's blowing so much. Listen, let me try it again. I was doing an old in-laws call because we're on near an early afternoon and they regroup a lot. The wind's been blowing.
Call him again.
Yeah, just a minute. Yeah, didn't. I heard him. Yeah, he's not real close. He's still about 150 yards. Yeah. Oh, I heard him then, did you hear? Normally I wouldn't call this loud, Delbert, but the darn wind.
That's really...
And actually it's upwind, yeah. Wait, he's coming this way. Look over to the right of that big cedar. We couldn't get away with this whispering except this wind's camouflaging some of the same. He's still too far. He's out about 60 yards, 70 yards away. He's coming. He's coming. He's coming. Wait, it's still too heavy. He's headed straight our way.
Back away.
Hold it. Wait a minute. He stopped. He stopped. I see. Move back over this way. You'll be in line better. Move back over this way. There you go. Okay, he's in gun range. He's within 30, 35 yards right now. Let him come closer, though. Slide the gun out. Slide the gun out. Easy. Easy. I see. Okay. Okay, he's close. He's 20 yards or less. Go ahead. Go ahead. Hey! Oh, you got him. You got him, boy.
Let's get
Good shot. Good shot. Okay. Come on.
Woo, boy.
All right. Oh, he's not even flopping. Boy, you put it on him.
Woo!
Oh,
There,
son
big bird.
Man.
God.
Oh, man, look at that. The base of the neck. Look. You about blowed his neck off. Look, the beards are gone.
Where are the beards?
Well, you
Beards off
blow...
of him.
Son of a gun.
All right.
Look at that. Here, let's bring him on up here. Man, isn't that something? Look at the color in that booger. Isn't that... Hey, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, here. Hang on to that bird. I don't want to take your bird away from you.
Hold that.
Isn't that something? Did you see them beards? Here, let's look at them beards. Look at that. That turkey. That turkey.
Turkey ain't got no beards no more.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that something?
Well, you shot shoot at the base of the neck.
I can't believe that. I know that's a full choke gun. Isn't that something? Look where they shot those suckers off. I hope the viewers can see that in the show. Look at that beautiful coloration in the head. Look at that snood. Man, I like that. Isn't that neat? Hold him up there. Put a little of that afternoon sunshine on that turkey. Look at that colorations and the iridescence. Look at the breast iridescence.
I know, I was looking at that. Isn't that nice?
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful gobbler.
Look at that.
Look how those colors change. Isn't that something? Man, you just accomplished a tough challenge in America.
Man, thank you. You done it.
Right. It's addicting. I want you to know you're going to be wanting to come back.
I'm already hooked on it. Before I got here today, I was done hooked on it.
Now, if you notice in the Rio Grande, these white tips here, you know, here on the Van Ostrin Ranch where we're hunting here at Cross 7 Safaris on the Van Ostrins, in 1953, they had some eastern turkeys brought in here and stocked. And so these turkeys on this North Canadian River here near Mutual, Oklahoma, are crossbreed. And sometimes you'll get deep chocolate just like the easterns. But this tips of these tail feathers coming on up here, notice this even's got quite a bit of chocolate in it here. Some of them are deep chocolate like the easterns. That's back when Mr. Gene Ellington owned this ranch. They were brought in here, the easterns, and stocked, and then they crossbred with the Rio Grandes here. Man, look at that snoot hanging down. Isn't that something? Boy, his neck's limber. You about blew that neck plumb off. Look at that.
Let's shoot him down there.
I told you to sight like a rifle, and you
Right.
did, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Let's throw him over your shoulder. Good job. Isn't John Fox going to be proud of us?
I hope so.
I always promise him 0.
He said we'd have fun.
But you know what? I thank the Lord. I say there's someone else has a hand in this, Delbert, you know,
That's right.
besides Leroy and whoever I hunt with.
That's right.
But John will be proud of us, I
Yeah,
bet.
he will.
Yes, sir. I never feel any closer to my Creator. How about throwing him over your shoulder and let's head in?
Let's get going.
Let's show John what we got. You're going to see that I have an array of calls here, Carter. And I'm going to get into the diaphragm in just a minute, but I think I ought to show what the Indians used. You know, because the Indians used to bow and arrow turkey. They used a wing bone. Now that's the middle joint right there that has 2 bones in it in the wing of the wild turkey. And it's cut right here and joined, but you got to saw the ends off and you got to dry it for about a year before you join them together. And then I put a cork on the end and you see all that camouflage tape on here. It's kind of hid, but you got to kiss into it. And notice, of course, you got to cup your hands around it and you got to move when you're using it. So therefore, you know, it's not near as effective as that little diaphragm. But here's the way the Indians used to kiss into the wing bone to call turkey. They'd go. Now, that's old wing bone. But about 7 out of 10 times, I'm not consistent, and I'll make a mistake when I'm using the wing bone like the Indians used to use. Now then, the Indians also used the China briar leaf, like goes into the roof of the mouth.
Yes, sir.
You know, and the peach leaf, like goes in the roof of the mouth. What I'm going to show you here now is there's various manufacturers that's making this slate call that's got a cup around it. You see, I used to use a slate out of the old high school that I graduated out of and take one of the corn cobs off the farm where I grew up in an old cedar peg sharpened like a pencil. And I've got that right here in my backpack and in my fanny pack that I wear. But this here is a manufactured version of a slate call. You just cup your hand around it and you draw little circles on the slate like this to imitate the hen turkey. But I used to use, the very first turkeys I called and bagged with a shotgun, I used a slate and an old corn cob. I didn't use one of these ultra-modern slate calls here.
How long ago was that, might I ask?
Well, that was 25 years ago
25 years
when I bagged my first turkey. So you see, I've been at it for a day or two.
Yes, sir.
And you notice, I told you I got to call in 3 gobblers for every one that I get to bag, and I got to call 27 in to get to shoot 9 arrows when I'm not in the blind. That tells you I've spent lots of hours with turkey. Literally called in the last 20-some years, 23, 24 years, about 1,200 turkey during hunting conditions across America. 122 states. So haven't I been a lucky boy?
Yes, sir.
Of course, I'm not a boy anymore, am I? Yeah, I used to have black hair, dark hair like you do, Carter, but now it's getting a little older. Well, there's all kind of box calls also, but the box call, usually there's bigger boxes than this one. This is made by a gentleman up in Missouri. It's got a little piece of slate on the inside, and it's got a striker in here that rubs on that slate. It's more or less like the other one, except that the box gives it a tone, Carter. And you just drag it across here like. That's used to imitate the hen. Then there's all kinds of devices also for gobbling. But I would say that turkey hunting is one of the most dangerous sports that we've got, because people are sitting in full camouflage with their face paints on or with their head net on, and they're making a noise like a turkey. And this is a gobbling device here that you shake like this to imitate a gobbler. That wasn't a very good gobble. That was a little better gobble. But you just grab it and you just shake it like. That's a gobble on that device. There's various manufacturers of the gobbling devices also. Hi, folks. My name's Leroy Brownguard from Moscow Mills, Missouri. We've got a series of turkey hunting tapes on calling and hunting the wild turkey. We're going to sit down here in the out of doors today, and we're going to talk to you about how to use the diaphragm call on spring calling. It's going to be calls that you can use as a beginner or an advanced hunter. It'll be on the various types of calls and some of the hunting tactics on spring hunting. But we just as well tell you right now that there's so much to turkey calling and turkey hunting that the seminars that I've been doing 25 years preceding this particular filming, it has taken 5 to 7 hours to put on a seminar, and we still can't cover all the subjects on the 4 breeds of wild turkey that there are in the United States. I'm going to show you how to condition your little diaphragm call. The little diaphragm call right here goes up into the roof of the mouth. Almost all of the 2 million turkey hunters in the United States at one time or another they're going to buy a diaphragm turkey call, because if you use the friction type calls, the wing bones, the slates, the trumpet type calls, it takes so much movement to operate them that you wind up scaring gobblers away, running gobblers off. So today's specialty on this particular tape will be on spring turkey hunting and using the diaphragm call. Now then, you notice that I have what's referred to as a tobacco or a snuff box here. But I have scope or mouthwash in this box so that it keeps the call milk white. That keeps it conditioned and ready to use. The tape must be pliable. If you notice right there, the tape is real pliable because it's kept in a moist condition, okay? Now then, conditioning the call is very important. If you keep it in a matchbox or if you keep it in a plastic container that is not airtight, it won't hold the moisture in and it'll dry up and it'll get like a potato chip. And then you've got to keep it in your mouth for about 30 minutes before that you'll be able to use it. So this call is already conditioned. Now then, the first step is to fill your lungs with air, like you're going to blow up a penny balloon. Then the next step is to exhale the H in hot, not the OT. All of the air must come between your tongue, this finger being my tongue, coming up again the front edge of that rubber diaphragm right there. If any of the air leaks, you're not going to be real successful. The way that I'm going to show you to use this diaphragm, you'll be able to become as successful a turkey caller and as good a turkey caller as anybody in America. If you learn to call this away, you will be able to then vary in other fashions after you learn this method, okay? It goes in the roof of the mouth. It actually sets up again the roof of the mouth, and I suck the moisture out, and it will hold itself up there. All the air comes, and you say the H in hot, and as you exhale the H in hot, you raise your tongue up from the bottom, and you'll feather the rubber, and it makes this noise. Fill your lungs up. That's the first step, folks. I know it's going to tickle your tongue when you do that. But the second step then will be to tighten your tongue, and it'll come a real high pitch. Then loosen your tongue, and it'll become a low pitch. Learn to go up and down the scale as you're exhaling the H in hot. Okay, again, fill your lungs, exhale the H in hot, tighten your tongue, and loosen your tongue. Okay, now you've got that step down. The next step, after you've got this far, is to hum a song that you know or to talk with it, okay? Humming a song you know, I always hum when the Saints go marching in, and when I talk, I always say, if you want to call turkeys, you've got to practice, practice, practice. Here it is again, exhaling the H in hot. Okay? Now then, the next thing is talk with it. I say if you want to call turkeys, you got to practice, practice, practice. Okay? Now you're ready to call turkeys. You see, out of the tens of thousands that I've taught in the last 25 years to use this little diaphragm, 9 out of 10 will try and call turkeys the first moment they put it in their mouth. Now that's the wrong thing to do, folks, because you should go through the humming the song, you should go through the talking with it for the first day or 2 days. Now as you're exhaling the H in hot, you're going to attempt to use your tongue as an air valve. You're going to think of your diaphragm pushing your lungs and air's trying to escape your mouth like a leaky air hose continuous. You don't go, okay? You go, continuous. Your tongue becomes the air valve. As you're exhaling the H in hot, shove your tongue up against the rubber diaphragm. You stop the air from escaping, but the diaphragm shoving against the lungs is still trying to get out. And as quick as you can release your tongue and put it back, it yelps like a turkey. Okay? I'm going to put it in my mouth, exhale the H in hot. You're going to hear that sound that tickles your tongue. Then you're going to concentrate on the air trying to escape. Your tongue pushes up, stops it, and then as quick as you can take your tongue, release it, and put it back, it yelps. Now, if you notice, I had my mouth open just a little bit. We'll let you look in my mouth and actually see what my tongue's doing just a little bit later on, okay? But now, the next step, I hadn't told you, you should learn with your teeth locked. You notice I'm talking with my teeth locked right now because nothing needs to move, okay? Now what? All right? Using the tongue as an air valve. After you learn this way, you will have developed tongue muscles and jaw muscles that you then can pop your lips, you then can move your lower jaw up and down, you then can huff, huff, huff air, but you don't want to learn any of those ways I've just mentioned. And I'm going to show you why you want to learn to develop the tongue muscles right now. You see, turkeys have different voices just like human beings. I'm going to show you some of the different voices with the same diaphragm right now. That after you learn to use your tongue as an air valve, you'll be able to mimic whatever turkey that you possibly hear. Here's a raspy voice turkey. A choppy voice. Now watch, I'll pop my lips after you learn to. Look. A smoother musical voice turkey. Deep, coarse, throaty tom, real slow yelping, coarse. Now then, a high-pitched young hen, real fast timing, what that old gobbler's looking for in the spring of the year. Now my favorite tone. Okay, now do you see why that I say you want to practice with your tongue as an air valve and learn the way that I've just told you? You see, on the market, there are many good manufacturers of calls. I have the single diaphragm, the double diaphragm, the triple diaphragm. I also have the split reed diaphragm. I have elk reed diaphragm. And there are many good call manufacturers on the market. This is simply a single diaphragm, but you can use any of the doubles, triples, split reeds. The way that I have shown you, you will become as good a turkey caller as there is in America. I tell people you should buy everybody's calls. Hope you buy mine, but you should buy everybody's calls. Okay? Now, we need to talk about some of the spring calls for spring hunting and some of the spring tactics. Since you've had the lesson in how to use a diaphragm, how to operate it, and as I said, we will let you look in the mouth during this particular tape and see how the call is operated without just me telling you with words. Okay? The mating call is a call that is referred to for beginners. Okay? I said we're going to talk about beginning and advanced for all the turkey hunters of all species of turkey in America. The mating call is usually referred to as anywhere from 3 to 6, 7 yelps. Normally they're a half second apart. Normally they're the same volume, same tone, like this. Or you notice it's all the same volume. The timing's about a half second apart. The thing to remember about wild turkey is that their ears are 5 times as good as human beings, and their eyes are 10 times as good as human beings. Most turkey hunters make the mistake of calling too loud, although I'm going to show you some loud racist calls for those of you that have been turkey hunting for a few years and you want to try some new things to maybe get that old gobbler that's hanging up on you. Okay, that's the mating call. If you can only learn 2 calls, it would be the mating call with whines in front of the yelps, the mating yelps, or with whines in front of the mating yelps and a cluck behind the mating yelps. And then the next call, if you're going to learn 2, would be the lost call of the old hen to make you successful for spring turkey hunting. Here is the mating call again before we do the lost call for you, with whines in front and with a cluck at the back. Notice when you practice that you can look in the mirror at yourself Practice so that you don't have to move. Because when that turkey is within 20 yards of you, if you move anything, even back your eyes like you see me doing now with this bright light that we have here today on the program, you're going to run that old gobbler off. Practice in front of the mirror like this. Put your finger up there. Make sure your teeth aren't moving. That's the mating yelps with the whine in the front, now with the cluck in the back. For the whine in the front, I'm just saying the H and hot, like you learned in your first few steps. I do another whine that I say E or what. The cluck in the back is made by putting the tongue right against the tape, not on the rubber, but against the tape here in the back, building up a lot of air pressure, dropping it down. That's an assembly cluck, okay? That's different variations of the mating call. Now the lost call. Lost call, it increases in volume all the way throughout the call and does not fall off. That gets into fall calling, which we'll have on another tape for you in our series on turkey hunting. A lot of people confuse the assembly yelp of the old hen, which the volume increases. It gets up here after about 12 yelps and then it tails off. But on the lost call in the spring of the old hen, you want to keep increasing the volume all the way to the last yelp, and anywhere between 8 to 15 yelps. And at the end of the lost call, you can put an assembly cluck if you like. Here's the lost call of the old hen. With the cluck, without the cluck. Let's do it now with two clucks behind. Okay? Now you've got the lost call. These are the two calls, if you cannot do any others, that you should learn for spring turkey hunting. But I'm going to show you several more calls that will help you work in the spring of the year to bring that old gobbler that hangs up on you, just out of shotgun range. We're going to try and answer that most frequent asked question that I have. What causes that old gobbler to hang up just out of shotgun range at 80 yards or so? And what can you do to try and bring him on in? Well, first of all, you ought to probably know the answer to the reason he hangs up. I think probably the number one thing is that you move. Remember, the number one thing for turkey hunting is you must remain motionless. And I think probably why that old gobbler hangs up spitting and drumming out at 80 yards is because he's caught something that's unnatural. He's caught you batting your eye. He's caught you rolling your head from side to side like you can do squirrel hunting or deer hunting, but you cannot do that turkey hunting. That's the number one lesson before you get into calling. You know, calling is probably 25% of being successful, and turkey hunting techniques is 50% of success, and scouting is 25% of success. But let's talk about what kind of calls, because we're on calling right now. What kind of calls can you use besides that mating call and that lost call when that old gobbler hangs up just out of gun range? Here's assembly perts. One pert says, "Here I am." Two perts says, "Where are you?" And that's asking the old gobbler, "Where are you?" You know, that works in the fall too, but it also works in the spring, so there's a little duplication here. If you do two in rapid succession, see, I done one, then I done two in rapid succession, so you could compare them. The one says, "Here I am." The two says, "Where are you?" This really helps to keep that old gobbler. Now, written about in many of the outdoor magazines back as much as 12 years ago was a pit T, pit 2. And this is the words that I put in human language to say on the call. This will lure that old gobbler in many, many times. And this sedates him. This tells him everything's all right. Now, I'm going to exaggerate it for you to practice by. I'm going to say 4 syllables. Pit, T, pit 2. Yeah. Okay? That's not the way it's supposed to be done in the woods. That was only to show you what words to say with your lips. Here's the way it's supposed to sound in the woods. A lot of times I'll even shorten it down and I'll say pitta pitta. 3 syllables. Pitta. No, still 4. I'm wrong. Pitta pitta. Listen. Real low volume like that. If you notice, the volume was down. Now then, we talked a while ago about the assembly clucks. Okay, 1 cluck's good. On the diaphragm call, the assembly cluck, where I put my tongue against that tape in the back, build up air pressure, build up lots of air pressure, and then pop my tongue down, it doesn't come out good on the sound of the video. It kind of pegs the needle. Listen, I'm going to do an assembly cluck. This is good when that old gobbler hangs up at 80 yards. But it pegs the needle and doesn't come out good. Just 1 of those or 2 of those is real good. And don't do a lot of them. Just keep him into a full strut or keep him interested out there. Only when he folds up his wings and straightens up out of that full strut do you need to do one of these little low volume calls. You can do the whine. Just a whine by itself. Just a... The pits. And I'm saying tit tit, tit tit. Listen. Okay, now you're getting some of that low volume calling. Okay, there's the purring. The purring you can do with just your lips or vibrating your tongue against the diaphragm like this. The purr goes real good with the pits. Listen, tit tit. Okay? That's good when that old gobbler hangs up on you out there. Also, there's another call in the low volume category, and then we're going to get into the high volume category when he's hung up out there. And we're going to talk about how to apply these calls. There's another call in the low volume, and it's been written about in magazines, but it's found very seldom on any sound system in America. And it's called the wildcat call. And this is a call very few hunters hear in the wild. There's 2 different ways of doing this, okay? I say. The last one that I done was really nearly perfect. The first several was not nearly perfect. Here's another way of doing it. Now listen, I'm going to do it 2 different ways, the wildcat call. And in that low volume, it should not be loud volume. It should almost be inaudible. This really works on that old gobbler when he's hung up out there at 80 yards. Let me give you another call that I call the love cackle or the mating cackle and compare it with the basic cackle in the spring of the year and with the impatient hen. These are all 3 calls that work super on that old gobbler, no matter what species in the United States. These 3 calls that we're going to show you now, the impatient hen, the basic cackle, and also the love cackle or mating cackle, are calls that you can use on any of the 3 species, any of the 4 species. You're talking about the Osceola, which is found in Florida, the subspecies of the eastern, and the eastern is found in 38 states. When you start at Missouri, at the Kansas-Missouri border and go east, you're talking about the Rio Grande being in approximately 10 states and the Merriam being in 14 states. These calls are going to work on any of the species in the spring turkey hunting, okay? Let's talk about the impatient hen first. We told you in the mating cackle that the volume stayed the same. We told you that the timing stayed the same. The impatient hen, the volume increases and the timing increases. You can tell the hen's impatient, waiting for the old gobbler. Here's the impatient hen, some excited clucking right behind the impatient hen, 5 to 8 times on the yelping. Here's it is again, folks. That's the impatient hen. The impatient hen has about the same amount of value. This has more value on that old gobbler that's hung up on you. It gets him excited. It's letting him know that you, the hen, are impatient, wanting to mate, okay? The basic cackle is the same thing. Here's the basic cackle. It increases in volume and timing through the first half of the yelp. Then the timing comes down and the volume comes down. Now listen, I'll exaggerate it. You can see it. The way it's supposed to sound in the woods. Now that's the basic cackle. You want to get that old gobbler that's hung up on you at 80 yards, give him the impatient hen, give him the basic cackle. Now when you get to where you can handle this diaphragm better, I'm going to show you how to do the love cackle right now. The love cackle, you go halfway through the basic cackle, but you don't fall off this side. You go back and you start over. You do a double start on the basic cackle, or you do a triple start. And when you then get through with the double or triple start, you fall off the other side real excited, and you do a whole bunch of purring and pitting and little talk that we'll even get to the alarm putts, which you don't want to do, and compare them just as soon as we do this mating or love cackle. See how excited she was at the very end? Friends, I've seen about 75 hens spread their tail in about a half fan, drop it to the ground, drop their wings to the ground. Not their wings out like a gobbler strutting, but drop them to the ground and run to the old gobbler and fall into mating posture, and the old gobbler mate them. So don't let anyone tell you there's no such thing as the love cackle or the mating cackle. And it tells that old gobbler that you're the hen that wants to mate next and don't want to be second or third. And it really tears an old gobbler up. Now, all that little putting that I done at the end, okay, as long as you're putting it in with the love cackle or mating cackle, it's okay. But you see, the alarm of turkey, some of you may want to hear that so you know what not to do, comparing it with a simile perch, here's the alarm. One putt's not so bad, but when you hear several like this, that old gobbler's getting ready to take off. He's gone. He's taken several steps in between each one of those putts. When you put the putts in the volume that I did with the love cackle or mating cackle, it works. Now here's the love pat. I call it the assembly or the love pat in the spring. A different call than you've heard before, and it's good that first hour of daylight. Okay? You see, there are some 53 calls that I think the turkey makes in a year-round situation. We've just talked about some of the calls that are made in the spring season. These are calls that's not just showroom and stage calls. These are calls that work in the woods. You can see now why we have a series of tapes. There's not time to put all these calls and tell you when to use them on one tape. And we've got hunting techniques that we need to show you, take you into the woods and actually show you how to do scouting. So we hope that you'll continue with our other calls when we tell you exactly how to use them, when to use them, and what situations to apply them. You see, turkey hunting is a sport that is surpassed with desire by no other outdoor activity. 9 out of 10 people who go turkey hunting are addicted for the rest of their life if they can only keep one sport. One sport. And you asked the 2 million turkey hunters in America what that one sport would be, and they had to give up all the rest. It's wild turkey hunting. See, turkey were here when Columbus came. They were here when the Pilgrims came. What's more American than the wild turkey? What did the Pilgrims have for the first Thanksgiving? Wild turkey. Join us on the rest of our series in wild turkey hunting, and we'll show you the turkey hunting techniques that is 50% of being successful. We'll show you the scouting techniques, which is 25% of being successful. We'll show you fall turkey hunting and calling on other tapes that make it as much fun but almost like a different sport as spring turkey hunting. Folks in America do not realize how much fun fall turkey hunting can be. You join us and we'll show you on the rest of our turkey hunting series. Thank you for joining us on this program and this tape today.
Hey, there's other great outdoor adventure video library adventures for you, both fishing and hunting. And here's the address of the Outdoor Adventure Video Library, where you can ask or call or write for a free, no-obligation catalog. All of our tapes are guaranteed to make you a better fisherman or hunter. Until next time, this is John Fox saying so long for the gang that appeared today, and good fishing to you, and we hope that you enjoy God's great outdoors as we have an opportunity to do here each week. Support the National Rifle Association and Ducks Unlimited. Everybody's starting to drive off, and looks like we're going to have to drive off into the sunset, too. Until next time, this is John Fox saying so long, good luck, and good hunting and fishing to you.